The Sunshot is by far my favorite weapon in the game, and obviously my favorite hand cannon. You've got this beautiful sunburst that you get with the Sunshot that is both incredibly effective for clearing ads, but also really fun to watch. Can't outrun the sunrise. Liu Fang quote at the top here. The weapon perks that we have on the Sunshot is Chambered Compensator, Accurized Rounds, Sun Blast, which means that targets killed with Sunshot explode in solar energy, and a textured grip. The intrinsic trait is Sunburn. This weapon fires explosive rounds and highlights targets that take damage from the Sunshot. So what happens, what this doesn't actually say, is if let's say I go in and headshot a Thrall. With one shot, he explodes, and anything else that is burned by that explosion will then explode. And anything else that's burned by those explosions will explode. And it's a big domino effect of explosions in the right situation. With Dragonfly, you only have one explosion, and it could cause everything around it to die, but they won't explode. That's the difference between Dragonfly and the Sunshot perk. There are 3 ornaments for this weapon: Burning Red, Quark Star, and Red Dwarf, which is one that I currently have. She bowed her head, heat shimmering from her fist. A silent salute to the hive closing around her, their eyes forming a glowing jade ring. She was a Sunbreaker, a mercenary from days before the city. Not like the new lights from the tower. She was weary, but there was no rest out here, where the city lights didn't reach. She and her allies were committed to their arduous solitary task, but they could always use more numbers. Sometimes, they left trinkets for the city, meant as challenge and bribe at once. We offer you this. Come find us. She had forged the Warlock gauntlets herself. Oros laughed in her face when she told her their name. She wasn't very good at names. A gun. She would forge a gun next. It would speak like her hammer and burn like fire. The ring of jade eyes closed on her. Liu Fang laughed, her arms open for a fiery embrace. Going into Forsaken, I started off by using 2 hand cannons and a sword, a Better Devil's, a Sunshot, and an Eternity's Edge. When the Aces Wild season dropped, I replaced the sword with 21% Delirium. When I got Mountaintop, I replaced the Better Devils with the Mountaintop. And then Shadowkeep dropped. With Armor 2.0, this made it a little difficult to get ammo for my heavy weapon and my grenade launcher at the same time, because Armor 2.0 introduced armor burns, and each armor burn has mods for specific weapons. Void has mods for grenade launchers, hand cannons, scout rifles, sidearms, and sniper rifles. Machine guns are on ARG. So by carrying the Mountaintop with the Delirium, I had a little bit of a problem with ammo. They introduced General Heavy Ammo Finder, Special Ammo Finder, and primary ammo finder. But if you want to be competitive, you need to be able to access other cool mods, such as the Charge with Light mods, the Nightmare mods, Hive mods, Undying mods. So how do you put together a competitive build today when one of the best weapons in the game is actually a heavy exotic? Sunshot isn't really something that I like to use for Grandmaster Nightfalls. And honestly, this is when I don't use Sunshot. Especially when there are stronger weapons for ad clears and shield breaks, such as Gnawing Hunger and the Summoner. And Void and Solar have been incredibly useful for Grandmaster Nightfalls. While Sunshot is a solar weapon, it doesn't seem to have as much of an impact as the Summoner in some sticky situations. So this is a fun build that you can use in patrol zones, adventures, strikes, and even raids. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for Grandmaster Nightfall. Subclass doesn't matter, but because I was a Stormcaller main during my hand cannon days, I decided to select this as a throwback. Now, I will say that while I'm working on my Not Forgotten quest in the Crucible, I found that Bottom Tree Stormcaller is incredibly useful because it helps peel off armor while I use Luna's to get that final headshot. Not easy. Luna's Howl is not my ideal hand cannon for Crucible, but I have to get 300 kills with it to get Not Forgotten. Arc Souls come in really handy, and I actually really recommend these for any hand cannon build. It's been really good to me. So while the Mountaintop Sunshot and Delirium served me well on past missions, putting together an effective build today doesn't really put these three weapons together in a way that's not frustrating. The reason why is because of the armor mods, the burn. As you can see, there's no machine gun mod, and with Delirium you definitely want to have an ammo finder and a reloader. And I like specific ammo finders. I prefer to have usually a double ammo finder for the weapon. So if I wanted to put 2 grenade launcher ammo finders on my helmet, I could. And I do on my Void builds. And it works. Since I use a trackball mouse, I need to have enhanced hand cannon targeting on my helmet. This helps tremendously. So one of the spots that I usually use for ammo is used for targeting. I do this for any precision weapon. So it makes sense, given the mods that are available, that I'm going to pair a grenade launcher as my heavy with my hand cannon. So the next question is, what's our kinetic weapon going to be? Well, since I'm using a hand cannon, and Sunshot is great for ad clearing in those situations, I wanted to pick a distance weapon. So that means we either are going to use a sniper rifle or a scout rifle if we want to take advantage of the armor mods. Since sniper rifles can be a little, heavy and can sometimes take a while to acquire sights, I wanted something a little quicker and a little more fun. So I went with the scout rifle. Scout rifle we're using today is Night Watch. This is an excellent scout rifle. This one was released in Gambit and Aces Wild, but as you can see, this one has a 1360 power limit. You can get this and Gnawing Hunger with the highest power limit at the moment by focusing and opening Umbral engrams. Because of the trackball, I chose to put a targeting adjuster on this, although depending on the enemy you go against, and I'll do this with other weapons, I will use Taken spec for Taken. Sometimes I'll use a boss spec on my heavy, for example. With some of the SMGs I've been using, I really like them, but I feel like there's way too much reload, so I'll pop a backup mag on those. And with Mountaintop, I like Icarus Grip. So look at your mods, think about your equipment, your situation, and what weapon you're using, and pick the appropriate mod for you. Since we're going with Grenade Launcher, and I can't use Anarchy because Sunshot is an exotic, I am going to go with Wendigo. This is one of the best heavies in the game, and this is used in GM Nightfall. So really, this is actually a pretty competitive build. Since I mostly use this for boss fights, I do have a boss spec on it. As a Stormcaller, I decided to equip Enhanced Ashes to Assets to give me super energy with each grenade that I throw, and of course I kept Enhanced Bomber so that I get grenade energy back with each healing rep that I drop down. I am using Charge with Light mods. Taking Charge will charge me with light every time I pick up an orb of light. And then on my Warlock Bond, I added the charged up mod that will allow for 1 additional stack. There is a cap, you can only have so many stacks of light. I really like supercharge, but because I use grenade and super mod so heavily on my class item, this is something I rarely get to use. The taking charge mod on my boots is feeding the high energy fire damage mod on my chest armor, as well as the protective light mod on my gauntlets. Alright, so now we have a build. Let's go in and test it. Sunshot has always been acquired by completing the Red War campaign, but it can also drop from random exotic engrams throughout the game universe. The highest levels of the Nightfall Ordeal drop exotics upon completion and are a good source of exotic farming. I've also frequently seen the Sunshot for sale through Xur. As of the launch of Shadowkeep, the Catalyst is now a random drop in core playlist activities. I got mine the second week of Shadowkeep from a playlist strike. When Shadowkeep launched, the Sunshot no longer seemed viable to me, but upgrading the Catalyst quickly changed that. The Catalyst adds range and stability enough to make such a difference that Sunshot was quickly back in the game again. I'm Diebear. If you like this video, please subscribe.